The vision of Christ is a miracle that will give us everything that we really want, that will fulfill our deepest desires. It will show us how to see our brother sinless. And in seeing our brother sinless, we will know our own innocence. In knowing our own innocence, we will recognize finally what it is we actually are as sons of God. And the purpose for being on this earth will be fulfilled. We will know ourselves as God created us. All this comes from the vision of Christ. But there can't be an effect without a cause. And the cause of that effect is our desire or our determination to see things the way they really are, to see things differently, above all else, to see. That determination awakens us to what is all around us and has always been there, but we were blind. And we were blinded by a kind of a counter-determination to remain blind. A determination that seemingly is within us, that wants us to only look at things through the body's eyes. So we maintain an identification with the body. And that force within us remains alive. However, in this glorious enterprise, in our endeavor to see through the eyes of Christ, we call upon a real power, a power that is within us that will undermine that force, undermine the determination to be blind with the true seeing, with an awakening, with an opening of our eyes, our Christ eyes. And that power will guarantee our success. And all we need to do is trust that power, surrender to that power, and allow that power to take us every step of the way. The price that we seem to have to pay for that seeing will be the loss of our specialness. We have to shift our consciousness from littleness to magnitude. Hardly a sacrifice, but it seems that way, to lose what it is that we have held so dear, our personal life, that has kept us so contained, so restricted, so limited, that we couldn't see. And so we held on to the idea that we had private thoughts. And those private thoughts were the restriction and limitation that kept us blind and hurt us. And this power within us, this true power, this voice for God, will allow us to see that there are no personal, there are no private thoughts. And that will be a little painful, but the pain is constructive because it's a detriment, deterrent to the thinking that we have private thoughts that kept us in hell, that kept us in limitation, in littleness. So it's a constructive pain, a positive pain that allows us to see we did it to ourselves and it need not be. That shift from specialness to holiness entails the letting go of our attachments. we imagine that our attachments are loving, and they are really in a sort of a way, but they're also a binding and a loss of freedom. This is beautifully symbolized by the sword of Damocles. This is the angel with the blindfold that wields his sword and cuts through the binding of our attachment to others, so we can be set free. You see, what we're set free from is not the love of others, but the fear of the loss of that love. That's what the attachment is. And when we're free from that attachment, we see there is no fear of loss. There is no loss, because that love is eternal and goes on forever and ever. That's the liberation. But there will be tears. There will be tears. Yeah. There will be a little bit of pain. But that's the healing pain. Yeah, that's the sword of Damocles. That's the healing of the Holy Spirit. You see, the specialness we imagine is really love. And it is in a sort of animal kind of herbal kind of herd instinct kind of survival way that is very, very narrow, very, 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 very limited and extremely conditional. And so it's a kind of a love that we need to go beyond, to widen our consciousness, to see that it's not the limitation isn't on those that we love specially, it's on those that are outside of that love. And that's the narrowness that we need to expand beyond. And so our awakening is to the realization that there's no limitation, there's no restriction. It's just simply awakening to the real love of God. That love of God has no restrictions or limitations or narrowness. It's open to all. And there's no conditions, you see. Doesn't matter what a person does or says, that person represents the Holy Son of God. And we don't judge that, because love doesn't judge. It just simply loves. And that love is coming from above, from God into us, and we are then extended out. So we're the first recipient of that in that sense, and it extends out to all. And it's perfect. And it's available to us if we see. So we must be determined to see, and willingness to accept that power. That's a real power that will show us what it is that is really there. Awaken us to the realization that there's no limitation. It's not the power to see what is there that is all love and joy and happiness, because that is all around us. That is the real world. And that is what we see in our brothers. It's the power to see what is not there isn't there. That's the unveiling. That's the forgiveness that allows us to see what was already there. And that power will allow us to communicate that to others. We communicate the fact that there's nothing in the way of true seeing. There is no sin. And so we communicate that in our perfected perception to our brothers by allowing them to see they're not guilty, that there is no sin. And in that seeing, in that communication, they can be healed and awaken to the realization of the sinlessness. That's the healing power. That's the healing of Christ. The essence of that communication is the realization and the knowing, the conviction that there's no sin. That there is only the love of God, and all else is appearance and suggestion and has no real power. And in that understanding, in that belief and conviction, we communicate that there is only the love of God, and that it is the healing power of Christ. That is what will heal the sick and raise the dead. That's what I meant when I said that vision fulfills your greatest desires. It's for the healing of the world. The world believes that seeing is believing, but in the real world, believing is seeing. Thank you for listening, and a very, very happy New Year to you all. God bless.